Okay, how we doing, folks? Today is Monday, November 20th, 2017. Rich Van Tassel with you, giving you our weekly NBA report. Things are really starting to now take shape in the Eastern Conference. Basically, what I would have expected towards the top of the conference, everything except for Detroit. You still have the Celtics riding their 15-game winning streak, plus 8.1 to be exact, in their differential, and only giving up 94 points per game. There are not many teams that are under 100. The closest team is the Oklahoma City Thunder, as it was last week. They're giving up 97.5. Also, the Portland Trailblazers are giving up 97.5. Take out the San Antonio Spurs, and every other team is giving up over 100 points. So the Celtics are 3 less than everyone else. That's key, is how well their defense is playing. The Detroit Pistons are still 3.8 in their differential. 11-5. They had lost a few games in a row, but they were able to get the other one. They're really the only team that's kind of, you wouldn't expect belonging there, but it's a case where they have still gotten themselves to where they are right now, and they're kind of sandwiched in between everyone else who you would expect to be at the top of the Eastern Conference, because Toronto is 11-5. They've won 4 straight. Cleveland now starting to right the ship. They've won 4 straight. That's your top 4. You got Washington at 9-7 at 5. Then Philadelphia, Milwaukee, the Knicks, maybe a little surprising. Again, I was expecting an improved Knicks team. I wasn't expecting them to be in the playoff consideration, but they are. But remember, it's still early, so that rounds out your top 8. Then you start to have the other teams. Indiana at 9-8. That's a little surprising to me. The Magic, they got some young talent. They've lost 4 straight. They were 8-4. They're now down to 8-8. That's a team to keep an eye on. You're looking at teams outside of the playoff picture. Again, we're not even 20 games in, but we're closing in on a fourth of the season, so you want to keep an eye on that. Then you got Charlotte, who's been a little disappointing. Charlotte's a team that simply has too much in Kemba Walker to struggle like this in today's NBA. You can usually get by in the NBA, at least being much more competitive and a lot closer to 500 basketball with a guy like Kemba Walker. They don't have the inside presence. He's putting up 23.5. The inside presence as far as a real offensive juggernaut. Dwight Howard is giving them just under 14 points. He's still a very good defender. Dwight Howard plays well. I don't know why there seems to be this idea that Dwight Howard can't get the job done. But again, he's not really a back-to-the-basket guy. He's a lot of dunk guys. He's not that inside post presence. He feeds off of guys like Kemba Walker. So I'd like to see what Charlotte does. Brooklyn at 6-10. Look, I'd expect Brooklyn to be pushing about 30 wins, be a much improved team. The Brooklyn Nets are not completely devoid of talent. They have some guys on there. They're trying to build. So I'd like to see how this happens moving forward. D'Angelo Russell playing very well. He's putting up just shy of 21 points. His assists are a little low, but this is a guy, maybe a fresh start in Brooklyn. We can see what will happen with him as he tries to help this young team. Like I said, you want to be around 30 wins. You want to keep improving. They have some young guys in this team. Karis LeVert is another one. He was a quality rookie last year. Of course, I like Isaiah Whitehead. Karis LeVert over 10 points. They're going to need him to continue to improve. Isaiah Whitehead, I'm going to check him out right now. Where he's at, these are the guys, you have a developing backcourt. Whitehead's gone down this year, though. He, I don't know if he made an all-rookie team. He got votes for an all-rookie team, but his minutes are significantly down this season, so I don't know what the case is. He's a quality player, or a guy who at least you think you could do things with if you gave him a chance. Alan Crabb playing well. Also, and then you round it out with Atlanta and the Chicago Bulls at the bottom, as we would have expected. So you're looking at the Eastern Conference, things starting to take form at top. We'd like to see how well Detroit can continue to stay up there once we swing into the new year. You got Chicago 3-11 and Atlanta 3-13. In the Western Conference, Houston is still keeping pace. I'm very impressed by what the Houston Rockets are doing thus far. A lot of it has been done without the services of Chris Paul. Golden State nipping at their heels at 13-4. But you got to give James Harden a lot of credit. He continues to put up the numbers. He had a big night again last night. He's just shy of 10 assists. He would certainly be in MVP consideration yet again this season. And you don't have Russell Westbrook's team playing that well. And Russell Westbrook's numbers have gone down, and they've also added a lot. So, it's a curious case with the Houston Rockets. Granted, they did add Chris Paul. He hasn't played much, though. He's started to play more this week. You're looking at his entire season, though. He's only played 3 games, so he started to come back on. His points are going up. But you look at it in the NBA, you usually look at the super teams or a lot of the big, three, however you want to look at it, wherever your big 3 may be. As we have evident in Oklahoma City, Boston, Miami in years past. But that's a situation where it's really, they played well last year, and it's James Harden with a nice cast around him and a system that works. They're plus 8.6. Golden State, of course, 13-4. They are plus 10.4. They are always extremely, extremely high in their plus minus, and there they are yet again this season. Then we have the Minnesota Timberwolves playing as I would have liked to have expected. I didn't think they'd be this high. Again, it's still early, but they actually lost to the Pistons the other night. They're up to 10-6 though, developing. Karl Anthony Towns putting up nice numbers. I really like the Jeff Teague addition. He's giving them over 7.5 assists per game. Of course, you have Jimmy Butler. You have a lot of talent, and under Tom Thibodeau, they're really putting it together. Guys like Taj Gibson off the bench. So it's good to see Minnesota playing well. I thought last year they probably could have been in the position I had them this year, which is around 5, the position they are in this year, they're a chance to have home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs. But again, we're early, but we're coming up on 20 games. San Antonio 10-6, just doing what they do, but only plus 2.6. Portland 9-7, plus 5.5. Again, you have a quality backcourt. You have Damian Lillard, who continues to play well. You also have C.J. McCollum, who shoots well. I'd like to see more with their depth. It's a case where how far can these two guys carry them? You brought in Evan Turner. He was injured at times last year. That's a guy who, he does things this year only about 9 points. He's career 10 points. He can make things happen off the bench. He's a little low in his assists, though. He's hit or miss off the bench. He's a guy I always liked when he was a Celtic. But that's something that they're going to need more of a consistency from him on the bench, as well as guys like Myers Leonard finally stepping up and things to those effect. But you have C.J. McCollum. You're relying heavily on guys, Damian Lillard as well, to do the work. They're going to need to get help from somewhere else. So Portland is at 9-7. Let's see if they can. They're up and down. Last year they made the playoffs. They played well at the end of the season. The year before they were actually went to the second round. So let's keep an eye on that. Denver Nuggets moving up. New Orleans Pelicans 8-8. Very curious there. You have two guys who play very well individually, didn't have necessarily team success. Of course, we're talking about DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis has been dealing with some concussion issues. DeMarcus Cousins still spectacular, 27 points per game. He's just a quality player, there's no doubt about it. Over 13 rebounds. So this team, you have Rondo on there. Can he get them playing together, get them moving in the right direction, get them doing everything they need to do? That will remain to be seen. If he can, get them to where they need to be on the court, it's tough. It's tough in today's NBA, but they are 8-8. They didn't have much time to figure it out last year. Let's see if they can continue to do that. Memphis 7-8. Memphis got off to the good start. They're struggling as of now, however. I just don't think there's enough offense on the Grizzlies. They've lost 4 straight. Oklahoma City, again, is 7-8. You could look at it as bad. Their defense is playing well, only giving up 97.5, same as Portland for second behind the Celtics. They are plus 5.4, as we said. Eventually, they're going to get it together. Defensively, they're strong, which is a good thing to see. Offensively, they just have to figure it out. Paul George is their leading scorer. where maybe they turn to letting Russell Westbrook penetrate more, let Paul George and Carmelo Anthony work off him, let them Carmelo Anthony and Paul George work off each other. We'll see, but I assume it'll get figured out. I'm not worried about it. Their defense has come along. That's the only thing that we got to pay attention about. If it starts to bleed into the new year and Oklahoma City is struggling, then we'll have to have cause for concern. Then you got Utah 7-10, the Lakers 7-10. Of course, LeVar Ball once again being a complete moron. We won't get into that. Kyle Kuzma is leading this team in scoring. That's very surprising. There's too much young talent. This is a team that has got to figure it out at some point. 7-10 is not terrible. Again, though, I'm not looking at a team to be a 30, to go from a 27-win team to a 32-win team. I'm expecting this team to be on the outside of the playoff chase, possibly in the playoffs at the end of the year. And Lonzo Ball not coming around, Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle is too quality of a player, and Kyle Kuzma is your leading scorer. Phoenix 7-11, the Clippers coming back down to earth. They've lost 8 straight, not surprising. There's just nothing there. And of course, Sacramento and the Dallas Mavericks rounding out the bottom of the Western Conference. All right, we'll do power rankings now that we're a few weeks in. I did power rankings in the past early on. At least now we have it. You, of course, have to have the Celtics number 1, 15 straight. They beat Golden State last week. Give them credit for that. I'm going to give Golden State number 2 at 13-4. Houston number 3 at 13-4. We will go with the Toronto Raptors, winners of 4 straight at 11-5 at 4, and then Minnesota Timberwolves 10-6 at 5. It's only the top 5 for the power rankings. All right, be sure to stay tuned for the recap of the Monday night game when that goes final, either tonight or tomorrow morning. And remember, we appreciate all subscriptions as well, and we're going to have to find a way to get the Thanksgiving previews for you before the week's out. Be sure to stay tuned for that, and remember, we appreciate all subscriptions. Thank you.